All right, welcome to the third video. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. This video is going to be a lot shorter than the others. Again, I'm just trying to keep the sizes small. But we're going to go back over inscribed quadrilaterals. I have a quizzes that I'll have you do after this to kind of make up for how short the video is. So let's review. So if you remember earlier when we went over this, basically the angles across from each other, if you have an inscribed quadrilateral, should add up to be equal to 180. This is what it looked like in your book, but we are going to work on your packet. So in the packet I gave you, I left something that looked like this. And all I was going to have you put was that A plus C equals 180 and D plus B equals 180. And this is just to help you look back on to remember that opposite angles in an inscribed quadrilateral add up to be 180. Because we know that, we can use that information to help solve different equations. All right, so this is our first equation. We have our 90, 130, angle T, and angle V. Well, if angles across from each other add up to be 180, then even though this looks a little funky, angle E and T should add up to be 180. If we plug in 90 for angle E, well, we get angle T is also 90 degrees. Even though it might not look like it, according to our math, angle T is 90 degrees. So now that we know how to do that, let's do the same thing for V, because again, angle N plus angle V should equal 180. So if we did 180 minus 130, we get angle V, which is 50 degrees. Hopefully you follow that logic, and hopefully just knowing that the opposites add up to be 180, you're able to solve a lot of quadratics a little easier. All right. So we're going to do several parts with this. First, we're going to find out angle H. Well, to find out angle H, we need to solve for M. Well, we know that two angles across from each other should add up to be 180. So we are actually first going to look at A and K, because we know that 10M plus 8M should equal 180, or 18M equals 180, or M equals 10. So now that we know M equals 10, we can just use 10 to plug in for these different equations. So 5 times 10, we get that angle H is 50 degrees. Angle A, 80 times 10, we get that angle A is also 80 degrees. All right, we'll go over the last couple on the next slide. So angle W is going to be the most difficult out of these, but we already know angle H. If you remember, angle H was 50 degrees. So 180 minus 50, we get angle W, which is 130 degrees. And then finally, we have angle K. We are going to plug in 10. Angle K is 100 degrees. All right, this looks a lot more complicated at first than it actually is. So Khalil the Wanderer continues to walk on the path of an inscribed polygon. He starts at W, walks south until the boundary point E, turns 70 degrees, and walks east until S, turns 100 degrees, and walks north till point T. How many degrees does Khalil must turn to go back to his starting point? So really all we're doing is solving for angle T, which if that's across from angle E, then really it's just 180 minus 70. So angle T is quite simply 110 degrees. So although you might see these word problems, don't overthink it. It's a lot easier than you'd expect. All right, now we're going to determine the value of Z. And again, we know that opposite angles in this case add up to be 180. So 14Z minus 7 on angle S plus angle U, 8Z equals 180. We're going to combine like terms, and I moved the 7 to the other side, We are then going to divide 22, and we get that z equals about 8.5. All right, now that we know that, we can plug that in for angle U. So 8.5 times 8, because remember it was 8z, and we get that equals 68 degrees. All right, so now we're looking for angle S. You could plug in 8.5 for Z, or we already know what angle U is, and remember opposite angles add up to be 180, or angle S is 180 minus U, which might be easier for you to do in your head. So we get the angle S is 112 degrees. All right, and now last but not least, we're going to look for angle R. So first, let's look at angle 10. Angle 10 is 10 times 8.5. And I went ahead and had that subtracted by 180, which should give us angle R. 180 minus 85, we get the angle R is 95 degrees. All right, now we are going to look for angle E, which is across from angle T. Both together should add up to be 180, so we can solve for M first. So we're going to add these together, combine like terms. I might have gone ahead and brought the 12 to the other side. And so we get 14m equals 168. Divide 14, and we get m equals 12. So we're going to plug that in to find out angle E. Well, angle E would be 120, because 10 times 12 is 120. All right, so now we're finding angle T. Again, we already know what m is, or you could have done 180 minus 120 since we've now solved for angle E, or you can plug in. Either way, you'll get the angle T is 60. So this question blends in with some of the last couple we did because it looks like a quadrilateral. We're actually going to use our knowledge of arc lengths to solve this. So we have 80 degrees right here. Well, that means this E to S should be double 80 degrees. And then we have 30 here, so AS should be double 30 degrees. So if we plug those in, we get the across from the 30 degrees is 60, and across from the 80 is 160. So why is that important? Well, now I can solve for arc E to A, which is important because look, angle S, what we're looking for, ESA, is across from that archway. So let's look at that. So if we know that most of the circle is 220 degrees, or if we subtract both of them from 360, we get EA, this should say EA, equals 140. So now I'm going ahead and jumping the gun and doing 140 divided by 2, because if this is 140, then angle S should be half that length. So angle S, or ESA, is 70 degrees. All right, hopefully you like this section on quadrilaterals. Like I mentioned, I left a quizzes for you. Now, one thing about this quizzes is a couple questions are the same questions, but you're solving for different angles. So maybe use a set of scrap paper, and while you're solving it, mark what you get for each angles, and it will help. It uses some knowledge on inscribed angles and some on inscribed quadrilaterals. So I hope that goes well. I'll give you more than one attempt, of course. And let me know if you need any other help. Please feel free to reach out, or if you attend tutoring, that will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll put that information on Canvas as well. And I hope you're having a great week.